A driver is charged after hitting a bridge, the traffic issues and damage caused to the Whoop Up Drive Bridge. Safer Streets crackdown. Lethbridge police go on a ticket spree to promote traffic enforcement. And an Alberta toddler waiting for a transplant. A family's desperate search for a donor.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge with Jordan Canigan.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. Lethbridge police have charged a driver after a semi-truck smashed into the underside of Whoop Up Drive Bridge. The collision causing significant damage to both the bridge and the large piece of equipment the truck was hauling. The city says it's still working to determine what it means for possible future repairs. Carson Marsuk reports.
We know there is damage. We don't know the extent of the damage.
City of Lethbridge crews and engineers are continuing to inspect the bottom of the Whoop Up Drive Bridge after a semi-truck hauling a scraper hit it and became stuck around 9:30 Wednesday morning.
When this happened, we were lucky enough that we were doing the work at the bridge, and we already have people from Volker Staving and AECOM that were doing the work, and actually we had one of the structural engineers was coming to site yesterday.
Lethbridge police say the truck driver was traveling to a construction site on the west side, but made a wrong turn into Indian Battle Park and under the Whoop Up Drive overpass. The truck and its load became lodged under the trusses, causing damage and a large dent to the bridge. Police have charged the driver with failing to ascertain significant space for movement. Additional charges are pending.
It's too early to say any potential damage to the bridge. We're just taking the pictures and also doing the measurements and the assessment.
The city is expecting to receive the report back in a few days with the total extent of damages. In the meantime, traffic on Whoop Up Drive has resumed. The city has reopened the northbound on-ramp from Scenic Drive to Whoop Up Drive, along with westbound 6th Avenue South.
At this point, the lanes that we have open and the bridge is safe. We have taken all the measures that we can in order to ensure that.
But the city says that could change once the report is complete. Joel Sanchez says these types of incidents are not common.
They happen. I mean, there are probably, I will say, a handful across the province based on what we talked to the expert that was here yesterday. But again, it's hard to predict. And when they happen, sometimes they can have significant consequences. We don't know where we are at now. We know there is damage, but that damage is being assessed.
Carson Marsuk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
And residents can stay up to date with road closures and traffic delays by visiting the city's website, lethbridge.ca. Lethbridge police issuing 46 violation tickets and 13 warnings over the August long weekend as part of an ongoing traffic enforcement project. Officers also handing out 2 immediate roadside sanctions and a warning. The project, which started in 2022, targets speeding, excessive vehicle noise, racing, and other illegal behaviors. Residents can help by continuing to report violations and chronic high-risk driving behavior. The project will continue throughout the summer. Federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre stopping in Calgary this morning to unveil his party's new proposal for a Canada Sovereignty Act. Poilievre, who is in the middle of his by-election campaign for the riding of Battle River Crowfoot, held a news conference at a Southeast Calgary Energy Company facility. Poilievre says his proposed act will counter what he calls illegal foreign tariffs and get Canada back to work. The act would repeal several laws enacted by the federal Liberals, including the Impact Assessment Act, known as Bill C-69, and the ban on large oil tankers on BC's north coast.
Donald Trump has imposed unjustified and unjustifiable tariffs on our economy and our people. Now, Mark Carney promised that he would handle Donald Trump. That's a quote. He said that he would negotiate a win with Donald Trump. He said that the deal would be done by July the 21st, and then he said it would be done by August the 1st. Those promises were not kept.
The Conservatives will introduce a motion in the fall sitting of Parliament. Let's bring in Gina for a look at the weather and a pretty clear, calm day today for the most part. The rain will come, We just don't know exactly when?
Exactly, yes, and you're right. Lethbridge has been pretty clear and calm. The rest of the province, bit of a different story. Lots of unsettled weather throughout Calgary and the surrounding area there, and definitely that rainfall warning just west of Edmonton is causing some problems today. Heavy rainfall expected to move into Lethbridge area as we get into tomorrow morning. We do have a thunderstorm risk for this evening, though, as Jordan mentioned, looks like the more severe situation when it comes to rain and even another potential for thunderstorms will be tomorrow afternoon. Down to 9 tonight, a cool Friday with that rain and those stormy conditions, but sunshine back in store for the weekend, Jordan. I'll have those details coming up.
Thank you, Gina. Well, Alberta has seen cool, wet weather over the last few weeks. Other parts of the country are dealing with hot, dry stretches and wildfires, and experts are weighing in following a series of AI-generated photos of wildfires being shared online. The concern is this rise in misinformation will only get worse during emergencies. And as CTV's Isabella Zavarese reports, BC is not alone when it comes to facing this problem.
Captivating images of wildfires. The photos so realistic that those in charge of wildfire management are worried they could impact how people respond to natural disasters.
People might make decisions based on those images, or be more fearful because of those images, or not take our warning seriously.
The photos are generated by artificial intelligence. The BC Wildfire Service says it noticed them in the last few weeks on Facebook during the peak of the wildfire season.
Wildfires are already, or can be, a really scary time for people. There can be a lot of anxiety around that. People can be unsure about what to do or what's happening. So anytime that we see potentially adding more fear or anxiety when it's not needed, we're concerned about that.
This is an AI image of the Drought Hill wildfire in Peachland. Here's what it actually looks like.
Often the images that we've seen are making the fires that they're purporting to be about look way worse than they are in reality.
In January, as wildfires tore through Los Angeles, AI images of the iconic Hollywood sign engulfed in flames were shared online.
You know, it's irresponsible for people to put out these types of images. You can be costing people's lives because of putting out fake news like that.
One UBC scientist says he worries AI will be misused.
I predict that, it's only going to become harder from here. That the use of these technologies will become much more pervasive because it's becoming accessible and the models are only getting better. And I think the awareness and the education around these should really be happening right now.
So the message that I have to British Columbians is please be cautious of where you get your information. Be aware of AI-generated content.
The province is urging people to turn to trusted sources of information instead, such as local media, governments, and First Nations. Isabella Zavarese, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Milk River Emergency Department will be closed again until tomorrow morning. A staff shortage is prompting the latest closure, which started on Wednesday night. The ER will reopen tomorrow morning at 8. Emergency patients during the closure will be sent to Raymond or Lethbridge instead. The town's emergency department has closed dozens of times since 2023 due to those same staffing shortages. Indigenous programming and culture will once again be on display at this year's Whoop Up Days. The Lethbridge and District exhibition announcing this year's festival will have a greater emphasis on Blackfoot culture. Country singer Armin Duckchief will headline the first ever Blackfoot music showcase. There will also be an expanded Indigenous marketplace, princess pageant and powwow, along with warrior relay races at the Lethbridge and District Pro Rodeo. Whoop Up Days gets underway on August 19th. E-transfers are one of the most popular ways to send and receive money in Canada, with more than 1 billion transactions happening each year. But as Pat Foran reports, e-transfer fraud is on the rise as hackers find new ways to get into your bank accounts.
I was shocked. I thought this could never happen to me.
Lola Bielavuk of Toronto was using Poshmark, a website that brings together buyers and sellers, allowing users to purchase new and second-hand items. Bielavuk posted pajamas for $40 and someone offered to buy them.
I saw a link there that was for $40, which is what I was selling it for, an e-transfer. Perfect.
Bielawuk says she was sent what looked like a regular e-transfer link, so she decided to deposit the money.
I clicked Tangerine. I put in my client number and password. So I entered in the security code thinking everything is fine.
But after she did that, the website froze. Someone she didn't know added their name to her e-transfer contact list, and she was scammed out of $2,740. This happened in January. She's been trying for 6 months to get her money back without success.
And I was told that my claim was denied, that I was the one that was negligent.
Tangerine Bank told CTV News Tangerine will never ask you to download software or remote access apps, and you should never share your login information or one-time passcodes with anyone.
Think before you click. Just don't go ahead and click on links that have been sent to you.
Cybersecurity expert Ritesh Kotek says AI is making it easier for criminals to create real-looking e-transfers and banking websites. He says scammers send fake links hoping you'll click on them.
You think you're logging into a financial institution such as your bank, but in actuality, you're logging in and giving your information to these fraudsters and hackers.
Kotak advises using auto deposits, strong passwords, and making sure you're on trusted websites. After CTV News reached out to Tangerine Bank, they reviewed Bielawuk's case again and told her, our recovery efforts with the other financial institution were ultimately successful and your funds have been fully recovered. Bielawuk has now been given a full refund, which was great news for her. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Coming up, the desperate search for an organ donor. An Alberta family pleads for help for their 18-month-old.
Welcome back. Happy Thursday to you. We have a southwest-facing shot here through our Skywatch weather camera. You can see some ominous looking clouds there on the horizon, and your head's going to be on a bit of a swivel for the next couple of days because it's going to be storms from the southwest this evening and then rain from the north tomorrow. So lots to keep an eye on. Temperature wise, we're at 23 degrees right now. That's probably as good as we're going to get for today when it comes to the high. And that's going to feel a lot nicer compared to what's in store for tomorrow. Again, when that rain moves in from the north, really going to drive down our temperatures. So 17 is probably the best we're going to get to for your high on Friday, but it's a short-lived system. It's really going to pack a punch, but it's going to leave after Friday. So just prepare for it and ride it out, and then that sunshine back in the forecast here. But lots of watches and warnings right now, including that rainfall warning we first looked at yesterday. That system is over that area on the Yellowhead west of Edmonton right now. But like I mentioned, our primary concern is what's happening to the southwest there, where a lot of these cells are populating and may track into Lethbridge throughout the evening. Looking okay for the next couple hours. Huge system, though, that we're talking about here. You can see I really have to expand this map so you can get the full counterclockwise rotation of what's enveloping the prairies right now. So it's the rain up here that's going to start to track down into Lethbridge as we get into tomorrow. So we'll walk it out here for you. Tonight, again, we do have that chance of thunderstorms, but the rain on our doorsteps by right around 9:30 tomorrow morning, and then it gets heavy as we get into the noon hour. Keep in mind, I find this model does like to behave a little faster than what the conditions actually end up materializing. So this could be more earlier in the day, but it should be around for a couple of hours. Starts to dissipate as we get into Friday evening. And there you go. There's your nice clearing as we get into Saturday afternoon. So rainfall for the next 24 hours. I have this chart in order of just where it's coming from. So Calgary first here picks up in the morning. Banff, pretty similar trend. And then here we go with Lethbridge. A little later in the day, we start to see the heavier rains start to fall. So right around that noon hour, 1 o'clock, be prepared for that. Totals right now is estimating 26 millimeters, so we'll put in that 15 to 25 millimeter range. This forecast does, that model updates every hour or so, so I'm expecting it to fluctuate as we get closer to the event itself. But we have that risk in the Kootenays tonight too, down to 9 up to 19 tomorrow with some showers. In the Crow's Nest Pass, 11 for your low, and then 18 with that thunderstorm risk. And for Medicine Hat, a very active night and day ahead with a high of 21 for Friday. today. Our 5-day forecast showing, cool conditions, the rain, the clouds, and then that clearing starting to develop on Saturday with a high of 24. And look at that, back into the high 20s for Sunday and Monday with lots of sunshine.
Alberta is reporting 19 new measles cases since yesterday. One of the new cases were identified in the South Zone, 13 cases found in the North Zone, while 4 were found in the Central. A single case was found in Calgary. The province has now recorded 1,713 total cases, 6 of which are active. An Airdrie couple is spreading the word about live liver donations as they await a donor to save their toddler's life and help other kids on the wait list for organs. Alicia Fieldberg met little Colby and his family.
Giggles and smiles continue despite all of the equipment hooked up to 18-month-old Colby. He has a rare genetic condition called Alagille syndrome, which impacts his liver, and he's been in the hospital for months.
Yeah, it's very hard.
He can't walk or stand right now and has to take several medications. Colby's doctor says he needs a liver transplant.
Oh, it would be the difference between life and death for him. The priority is to get an organ to make sure that, we can get Colby back on track.
It could come from someone deceased or a living donor who has a surgery to remove a piece of their liver.
The liver is like a worm. You can cut a piece off and it'll just regrow. But unfortunately for Colby, because of his genetic condition, his liver can't regenerate and repair itself.
It is a major surgery, so there are risks associated with it. But overall, the donors do very, very well.
While Colby remains in hospital, his family is trying to make the most of the time they can all spend together and hope they can find a matching donor soon.
It's been a struggle for the family. We have high hopes and, we're believing that things are going to change.
Having a donor transplant for Colby would be life-changing.
And not just for him. Colby's family and doctors say donors could change the lives of about a dozen children in the area that need liver transplants.
That huge impact that organ donation can have for the community and specifically for patients like Colby.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
Now, Colby needs a donor with type O blood who is healthy and between the ages of 18 and 55. Anyone considering registering as a donor can contact Living Donor Services. A new study suggests kids and young adults who spend too much time staring at screens have a greater chance of developing cardiovascular diseases. Danish researchers tracked the screen and sleep habits of more than 1,010 and 18-year-olds. They found those who spent excessive hours in front of electronic devices were at higher risk for health issues such as high blood pressure and high cholesterol, as well as diabetes and insulin resistance. Their analysis found that each additional hour of daily screen time increased the risk of disease. Over the past 2 years, more than 50,000 non-emergency calls have been received through the EMS 811 shared response line. If a call does not meet the criteria to dispatch an ambulance, the caller is connected to a registered nurse at HealthLink 811. About 1/4 of those patients were advised to care for themselves at home, and about 1/3 were advised to see a family physician. Others were directed to dentists, pharmacists, and public health nurses. Albertans should call 911 for health emergencies such as chest pain, trouble breathing, stroke symptoms, major bleeding, or significant trauma. The number of E. coli cases linked to an outbreak at the Saskatoon farm near Okotoks has increased. Alberta Health Services says there's now 68 probable laboratory cases of E. coli. That's up from 49 on Friday. 4 people have been hospitalized, but only 1 patient remains in hospital. A more serious parasitic infection has been detected in 45 people. AHS says people who ate or drank at the farm between July 1st and 18th may have been exposed. The farm's restaurant and bakery remain closed during the investigation, but other areas remain open. The farm says water it uses for irrigation and rinsing have been deemed safe. Still ahead, thousands of Indigenous athletes arrive in Edmonton. The competition begins for this year's Alberta Indigenous Games. Well, the Lethbridge Bulls were set to make their playoff debut last night, but Mother Nature had other plans. Game 1 in Sylvan Lake was canceled due to rain, the teams finishing a scoreless first inning before the rain started pouring. Game 1 will now be played in Lethbridge tonight. Game 2 and 3, if necessary, will be in Sylvan Lake. First pitch tonight is at 7. Well, the rest of the league was able to get their postseason started last night. The Mavericks are on the ropes after a 3-run 8th inning helped give the Red Sox the win. Brooks also in trouble after an 11-4 Game 1 loss to Okotoks. Medicine Hat and Brooks will both look to stave off elimination tonight. The Mavs on the road, while the Bombers will be at home. Both games start at 7 o'clock. Well, thousands of athletes are in Edmonton for the 2025 Alberta Indigenous Games. More than 6,700 athletes from treaties 6, 7, and 8 in both Canada and the United States will compete. The event features 18 sports, including basketball, ball hockey, softball, lacrosse, and soccer. The spirit of the Games centers around its theme, coaching youth for life, career, and sport.
Our games are unique in that they're like the only one that I know of that's to this scale that anyone, any Indigenous kid, First Nation, Métis, Inuit, Native American, if you live here, can come and play and participate.
I feel like every single year I make a couple new friends because like there's a couple new kids on my team each year and I get to know them.
Now, the games are underway as of today and they run until the 16th. Well, tennis phenom Victoria Mboko's Cinderella run continues on home court. After a nearly 3-hour match, Mboko rallying to win the third set in a tiebreak in front of a raucous crowd in Montreal last night. The 18-year-old joining Bianca Andreescu is just the second Canadian woman to advance to the final of the Canadian Open in 55 years. Mboko takes on Naomi Osaka in the finals. Well, after the break, a close encounter for an NHL mascot. A fishing trip turns into a sprint from a bear while in Alaska. Well, a really close call for the Seattle Kraken's mascot in a furry face-off between the sea troll and a charging bear.
While we were fishing, we had a pretty close call with a couple bears. We got a bear.
Yeah, you see how close the bear got. Bowie, the NHL team's official mascot, along with their forward, were doing some fishing in Alaska when they went from predators to prey. The group was forced to clear the zone before the growling bear gave up. Well, that's it for our show this evening. Thanks so much for watching. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.